you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement, et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. It's gonna be sick.
There we go. Marinaro, let's do this again because I was on mute. It happens. All right, okay. Montreal Canadiens lose big by a score of 5-0 for a second straight game. You heard the Boo Birds at the Bell Center. You heard the Boo Birds at the Bell Center. You heard them on Saturday night versus the Carolina Hurricanes, and you heard them tonight. The Canadiens lose, and they lose big by a score of 5-0 versus the Detroit Red Wings. Embrace the tank is what I said last year. But, this year, maybe a little bit of a tank, but at the same time, a very much depleted lineup. And there's only so much you can ask and so much you can get from the lineup the Montreal Canadiens had. Most of it, which was not a National Hockey League lineup, or if it was, it wasn't a very good one. And what you see is what you get, and that's what the Montreal Canadiens got. They got 5 goals against them. As a matter of fact, it was Caden Primeau who got 5 goals against them on just 21 Detroit Red Wings shots. It doesn't look good on the stat line. .762 is the save percentage for Caden Primeau. We'll discuss it with Grant McCagg, who's going to be our contributor tonight. Not before I tell you that the Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group. Sean Gerard, Mike Cinquino, and the boys at Energy, and girls too. It's the Energy Transportation Group is a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different. And brewed in Quebec, this baby right here, and a winner of a dozen international awards, La Bittt Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bittt Tibi, embrace your true nature. Without further ado, let's go to our collaborator tonight from Recruits and Recruits.ca. Grant McCagg, what's going on?
Hey, Tony. Oh, just another tough one to watch there. I started scouting some junior games about halfway through, admittedly, because I got to keep track of the playoffs. The playoffs is pretty important for the draft, so Mayshar was playing and Mayu and a few guys, so I was having a look at them as well, kind of keeping one eye on the Habs game and one eye on the junior games.
All right, okay. So, you know what? Before we get to the Habs, talk to me about the kids. What did you see tonight?
Mayshar is not getting, he hasn't been producing in the playoffs, but in the games that I've watched, he's driving play. He his puck possession is excellent. He's most of the shifts that he's on the ice, his line's in the other team's zone. So even though he hasn't been, lighting it up on the score sheet per se, he looks really good, Tony. So, just a great skater. He's one of the best skaters in the OHL and works hard, very smart defensively. He's just not piling up the points yet.
Yeah. Okay. And Mayu?
Yeah, I didn't get to actually see London too much tonight, but I have been keeping an eye on him, and he hasn't been none of the OHL guys other than Guido, who's the last guy you probably expect to be producing as much as he is, but he's been he's been the most prolific of the four so far in the playoffs, although Beck did get off the schneid tonight and score a goal for Peterborough. So Logan's playing solid. He's playing solid defensively. He just hasn't been getting any points. I think he's trying to play a little playoff hockey, right?
Yeah.
your defenseman, and they want you. They don't want you rushing up the ice too much. I'm sure Dale Hunter gave him read him the playoff act, so to speak, and he's reeling it in a bit and trying to play, a good defenseman game.
Every time we see highlights of Mailloux, obviously they're real good ones. I mean, I don't know if too many players who play in junior hockey that score Michigan goals the way he did. I mean, that's pretty good hands for a blue liner. But one of the the things that we hear knocks on his game, brain cramps. Have you seen that? Because that's something that I keep hearing over and over again.
You keep hearing, people like to focus on the negatives, right? I mean, every offensive defenseman makes brain cramps because they've got the puck. They're trying to make things happen,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I've read a lot of the. There's some people. There's a lot of would-be scouts out there, and everybody wants to make a name for themselves. So you read, some kids saying, "Oh, well, this guy can't play defense." Well, why does Dale Hunter play him 26 minutes a night? Why is he on the first penalty kill? Why is he out the last 2 minutes every game? When you're tasked with playing half a game pretty much and penalty kill and everything, you're gonna have some mistakes still. And I mean, I think he's played 100 OHL games in his career, if that yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's still, he's still learning the defensive end of the game to a certain degree. But and yeah, he does have more brain cramps than Shea Weber did, or if you want to compare him to great defenseman. But I think it's more a matter of him just needing experience than anything.
Yeah. Why does Dale Hunter play him as much as he does? Because in his opinion, the positives far outweigh the negatives.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, he thinks Logan Mailloux gives him a chance to win, and that's why he's got him on the ice, right?
Yeah, I don't think. Plus, I think he trusts his defensive game to a certain degree, or he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He wouldn't play him on the first PK and 4-on-4 pretty well the whole overtime periods and everything. So I mean, that's right. You got to live with take the good with the bad, and there's definitely more good than bad with Logan Mailloux.
All right, let's before we talk about the Montreal Canadiens, speaking of prospects, one who, of course, up until about a year ago was slated to go, number 2 pretty much on everyone's list, and then because of everything that's happened in Russia over the last year, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7. Some believe he could actually slip out of the top 10, but most do know and do say that Matvei Michkov is an elite talent in the upcoming 2023 NHL draft. One of the best pure talents in the draft. Tragedy struck him and his family earlier today. This is a terrible story where his father's body was found, in what appears to be a very suspect death. Terrible.
Yeah. That's Russia. It's a crazy place right now, and people a lot of people falling out of windows, and being found in ponds and everything, and you wonder what the story is behind it. But I'm not wondering too much about that. I'm just I feel really badly for the kid more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, just like everything seems to be going against him right now, the war, the NHL scouts can't see him. Will he go as high as he deserves? Because he deserves to go top 3 all day, maybe top 2. I know you said, draft him 2nd overall, and he probably is the 2nd most talented. I'd say talented for sure. Now, whether he's better than Fantilli as an NHLer, that would remain to be seen, but certainly he's in the conversation. So it's just a very sad situation altogether.
Yeah, I read somewhere. I'm pretty sure. I read somewhere that his, he got a call, and he couldn't quite make out what was happening on the other end of the call. But man, just thoughts and prayers with him and his family. Just awful news. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the Montreal Canadiens, and they lose by a score of 5-0. But Agnello and Sammy in master control. If you can bring up the starting lineup, or not the starting lineup, but the actual lineup tonight with the starting lineup, which was Suzuki, Ylonen, and Farrell, with Matheson and Barron on defense. Of course, Caden Primeau had the starting goal, but other lines on the night, Evans with Gallagher and Hoffman, Drouin with Armia and Gurianov, Tierney with Pitlick and Pizzetta. Was a very rough night for them. The fourth line was a -8 combined. It was a rough night for the centerman, who didn't do too well in the faceoff circle. Nick Suzuki was 31%. Jonathan Drouin was 38%. Tierney was 20%. It was a rough night for everyone. Caden Primeau gives up 5 goals on 21 shots, a save percentage of .762. And on defense, after Matheson and Barron, of course, are Edmondson and Kovacevic, and Schuneman and Weidman. You take a look at that lineup. It's not a very good one, Grant, and it wasn't a very good result.
No, I was trying to go through that and trying to forecast how many of those guys would be in the lineup opening night next year.
So, if we can bring it back up, and Yellow and Sandy, bring it back up and leave it up there for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So why don't we do this, right? Why don't we do this? Okay. And I don't have everyone on a piece of paper here, but let's try and jot it down, okay? Doc would be in the lineup.
Absolutely.
Monahan would be in the lineup.
Well, if he comes back, sure.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Let's
this year
we're healthy right now, okay?
Oh wow.
Doc would be in the lineup. 1. Absolutely. Monahan would be in the lineup. 2. Slavkovsky would be in the lineup. 3. Raphael RV Pinard would be in the lineup. 4. You can make an argument for Belzil. 5.
Yeah.
And so you Josh Anderson. 6.
Yeah. And we're probably missing a guy or two. There's so many out.
Yeah, I know. It seems like everyone's hurt. You're right about that.
Even with this lineup, I think Byron would have a spot if he was healthy.
Yeah, and on defense, of course, Jordan Harris, David Savard,
Gooley and Jackeye.
Gooley and Jackeye. I mean, it's wow.
And Allen in net. So
yeah.
Well, I think I count 7 guys that I think up on the board there that I figure will be in the starting lineup maybe next year.
It's more than half the team was out tonight. Than half the team was out tonight.
Yeah, yeah, and they put up a graphic there. I think most games lost by about 50 over every other team. Cole Caulfield. I mean, I don't even forget him, but Cole Caulfield. I knew we were missing one. I mean, just the 40 goals.
That's what happens when you don't have it on a piece of paper. But yeah, you know what? I'm looking at Suzuki, and all of a sudden I'm saying, hold on a second there. Caulfield's got to be on that line, right? Just my God, this is a really, really, really bad lineup. Really bad lineup.
Absolutely. For sure.
All right. Okay. So I want to talk about Farrell. Sean Farrell. I know it's hard to actually give an opinion on a game like this because, once again, half the lineup's probably not an NHL lineup. And, there's not a lot on the line in this game. But sometimes those are good times to actually evaluate players when there's not a lot on the game. And you go with your instincts. Sean Farrell, Marty St. Louis obviously gave him the ice time tonight and gave him the opportunity to play with a pretty good player. 15-34. He was even. He was a -1 on the night. What did you make of his game?
I didn't really notice him that much. I tried to keep an eye on him, but you always do. The kids that are getting their trials there, getting their first few games in, and he needs AHL time. I said that after the first game. I thought that was the case, and I haven't changed my mind on that. I mean, he scored a fluky goal, which was kind of cool on his first shift, first goal at the Bell Center. But I didn't think he did heck of a lot in that game either after that, to be honest with you. And he's finally, he went in the USHL in college and he could keep up with the pace.
Yeah.
And I think he's finding right now, like, that's a big jump, right? It's the best league in the world, and he's finding it a little fast, and that doesn't surprise me.
I'd love to see what Farrell could do with the American Hockey League next year with the Laval Rocket. Like, and they really need somebody to go in and like, let's show me points. Let's see how many points he can pick up in that league, and if you can take what he did earlier this season, translate it into the American Hockey League next year. Oh, by the way, we just got some help. I just saw in the chat line on YouTube, Christian Dvorak. We forgot him.
There we go. Oh no, like I said, I know we're missing guys, but without a list in front of me, middle age is settling in there, Tony. Unfortunately,
no, it settled in for me too. That's why I forgot him too. Don't worry about it. I mean, I hit the big 5-0 back in late November, so I'm starting to feel it. They say that when you hit 50, all your pains come out, and I have one here on my wrist right now, which is absolutely unbearable, and I don't know if it's I don't know, it's just terrible. But anyway,
they're right about that.
Yeah.
Once I hit 50, the last 9 years, there's been lots of aches and pains. Just put it that way.
Yeah. No. I hear you. All right. Okay. Yeah. What I liked about Farrell tonight is I found that his ability to get open. Now, it wasn't the tightest checking game. I get that, right? Okay, it was at one point it almost looked like it was a pond hockey game type of thing. But his ability to get open, I find that he goes to the right place at the right time. On one occasion in one shift, I know Suzuki tried to find him, and I think it was a 2-on-1, and it was intercepted. And then Michael Matheson tried to find him a little later, where Matheson had the puck by the left point, and Farrell was on the right-hand side, left-handed shot. It looked like he was teeing up for a one-timer, and that was also intercepted. But his ability to get open, he knows where to go. Like, his vision is good.
That's true. And the puck bounced over his stick there in the slot. Remember, he had probably his best chance. I think Suzuki fed him in the low slot, and it bounced over his stick, or I think it was on the power play. Should have had one there. That's one of his strengths for sure. Very smart, and finds the open spaces. He did that in Chicago and Harvard all the time. And once you get him in the AHL, and I assume that Josh Waugh will need some seasoning as well. He probably he'll have to get used to the pace as well at the pro level when he joins. But, those two guys, and maybe Logan Mailloux, we'll see. But they should have a lethal power play next year in Laval. And like you say, get those kids confidence up, score a bunch of points at the AHL level, and then hopefully, soon enough be ready for the call up to the big team, because there's going to be some good young offensive talent, I think, in Laval next year. And I suspect, maybe Farrell has a great offseason and comes to camp and wins a spot. But at this point, there's a fair bit of improvement, I think, that needs to be done as far as strength and speed goes before he can handle the NHL pace, certainly in the top 6 role.
What did you make of Caden Primeau's game? I'm not going to make any excuses for the kid. I almost feel like it's not fair the last couple of years with Caden Primeau, because it seems like he always comes in at the wrong time when the team is not doing well. He comes into games when the team is not playing well. It seems like when he plays, there's not much run support for him. More often than not, the team is not competitive. I mean, they were in Philadelphia, and that's a game that Marty St. Louis said at the end of the game that could have gone either way, and I agree with him on that. But tonight, I mean, they did to him what the Canadian, almost what the Canadians did to, not as bad, obviously, because Montembeault faced like 50 shots on Saturday versus Carolina, but that's Carolina and this is Detroit. I mean, they left this guy by himself a lot.
Yeah. He, I mean, you know, you've got Schooneman and Weidman as one of your defense pairings, and you know, it's a kind of a half an AHL lineup really on defense, and it showed, and up front as well. Primeau just I wanted him to make a big stop, you know, and unfortunately, I think early in the game, what was it? He let in 4, and it wasn't a lot of shots, right? You know, the first 4 goals that he let in was 17 shots or something like that. Montreal was out shooting him, so you hope that he would have made at least one save on the goals that went in, and maybe that, you know, it's disappointing that every time he comes up, it just seems like he may have one good game, and then he struggles, you know, in the others, and looks a little overwhelmed. And again, that looked, you know, when he took his mask off, was it the 4th goal or whatever, and you looked at him and it just doesn't seem like he, you know, he gets comfortable at the NHL level. And you're right, he kind of hung out to dry, you know, gets stuck in these late season games where there's all these injuries and they're not really playing for anything, and he gets hung out to dry a bit, and unfortunately, you know, he'll be on waivers next year, and probably get snapped up if he doesn't make the Canadiens out of camp. So this is going to be, the next 8 months are big for Primeau.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. And you know, Marty St. Louis said at the end of the game, he said, I liked Primeau's game. Like, you know, at the end of the day, he says, take a look at the goals. I mean, which ones are his fault? I mean, the first one goes upstairs. I mean, the second one's a breakaway. He says, we made life easy for Detroit tonight because a lot of mistakes, like, they were self-inflicted. Like, we hurt ourselves tonight. And he said, you know, I don't think he could have stopped the goals that went in. And he said, I like his game so far, and I've liked his game in Laval. And he's the reason why, you know, he's a big reason why Laval is still, you know, still have hopes of making the playoffs. And he says, I hope they get in. And if they do get in, they get in. He says it's a lot of credit has to go to Primeau.
Yeah. Well, you know, he has played well in Laval. He's right. But, you know, the shot that went over his shoulder by his head, you know, I thought he could have saved that one. You know, it was right there. He didn't move. Yeah, I mean, you got to stick up for your goalie, right? Especially a young guy like that. You don't want to throw him under the bus, but
yeah,
I don't think by any means he was spectacular. You know,
you remember the obviously you do, but the Hart season for Jose Theodore. And the great season that Cristobal Huet had when, you know, ultimately they ended up getting eliminated by Carolina in the playoffs. But there was a season or a couple of seasons where Cristobal Huet stood on his head. And there were a couple of seasons where Jose Theodore stood on his head as well. Theodore had one season that was unbelievable when he won the Hart. But we're talking about 2 small goalies, okay? And I'll even add Halak in the playoffs in 2010. When they beat the Washington Capitals in 7 games and they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 7 games. And Halak's game 6 at the Bell Center, where I think he stopped like 54 of 57. It's one of the best goaltending performances I've seen from a goalie since I've been covering the Canadiens, especially given the circumstances of A, it was a playoff game. B, it was versus the Washington Capitals. C, it was facing elimination. Okay. So add up, you know, the whole context, I think it was pretty unbelievable. But those 3 goalies, the reason why I bring them up is they were all small. They all look big. Primeau's like a foot taller than them almost. And he looked small. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta, you know, you have to square up. He's a little crouched down at times, and he gets down on his pads too, you know. And the top of the net's open, you know. I mean, you have to come out to challenge, and part of it's confidence, you know. Certainly at the NHL level, he doesn't have it yet, and he's running out of time in Montreal, unfortunately, because, you know, they have 2 goalies, and he's going to be waiver eligible next year. So there's going to be some interesting decisions that will have to be made next year at camp. That's for sure.
All right. Okay. Speaking of which, everyone that's watching right now on YouTube Live, on Facebook Live, on Twitter Live, and we say hello to all of them, our Sick Army and our Sick community. They want to know, Grant, get us a goalie. I know the draft is not here yet. I believe it goes the 28th and the 29th on a Wednesday and a Thursday night. Hey, by the way, is it me? Because you talked about when we get older, we tend to forget things. When was the last time the draft was on a Wednesday and a Thursday?
Never.
Where did that come from?
Oh, I don't know. The Bettman was the assistant, commissioner there of the NBA before he came to, and he seems to copy a lot of stuff from the NBA, and they have their drafts, I think, Thursday, NBA, NFL does as well. And for some reason, they've decided that we should have it midweek, and I don't understand that. Starting on Thursdays or whatever. Yeah, I don't like that. Harabel, you're talking about.
Pardon me. He's probably thinking, if anyone's going to stay home on a Wednesday night and watch anything, it'll be the draft, because on a Friday and a Saturday, they're probably going to be out and about and they're not going to be watching television. Maybe he's thinking that.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was on a Wednesday, so I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the draft by chance? It's in Nashville.
No, I won't be at the draft this year. But getting back to the goalie though, Tony,
we should get together for the draft, Grant. Sorry to cut you off there, but I mean, the last time you and I were we were together at the draft. I won over $2,000. I won over $2,000.
Yeah, well, okay. This time you'll have to give me the hot tip beforehand.
You remember that one? That's you know what? That's my best bet. And I've had some pretty bad ones, but I think that's my best bet in my whole life. Was it 2 or 3 days before the draft? Probably 2 days before the draft. 2 days before the draft, I had Slavkovsky at 1. I had Simon Nemec at 2. I had Logan Cooley at 3, and I had Shane Wright at 4. Yeah. And I put $50 on that, and I got back $2,050. So a nice $2,000 profit on that one. That's one of my best ones.
Yeah. Well, there weren't many people.
Kicking myself that I didn't put more, but it is.
There weren't many people that thought that Wright would drop that far. It's funny. I talked to an NHL scout that told me, and really the Seattle scouting staff wasn't sold on Wright either, and I think it might have been Francis that made the final call on that. If they'd have passed on him, pretty sure Philly was passing on him, and this scout who would have been picking after that said that he thinks that Wright may have dropped out of the top 10 altogether if Seattle had passed on him, which would have blew people's minds, because the media had drummed it into everybody's head that he was going first overall. So
yeah,
I knew there was something afoot, that he wasn't nearly as heralded as was being said in the media and what fans thought. But I watched the game. I watched a lot of the game tonight again, and Windsor's down 3-0. Windsor's down 3-0 in the series. Wright got a secondary power play assist tonight, was -3. He hasn't looked very good in this series. And again, that was the same deal last year in the playoffs, that he disappointed. And I don't think the Canadians made a mistake passing on him. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, mind you, we can, we'll have to we'll have a much better indication probably 5 years from now. But there's a lot of teams that are happy with their pick. I know that New Jersey's happy with their pick. I know that Columbus is happy with their pick. I hear that Arizona is happy with their pick. And any one of those teams and any one of those players could end up being, the best player in the draft. How about Marco Kasper? Marco Kasper, who went to the Detroit Red Wings What was it with the 8th pick, I think, or was it with the 8th pick? He's one of 4 players drafted last year to play in the National Hockey League this year. Slavkovsky was 1. Nemec was 2. Jiricek was 3. Pardon me, Shane Wright 4. And Marco Kasper, I think, is he the 5th player to play in the National Hockey League this season? Yeah. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe he's the 5th player. And that's pretty good for a player they picked 8th. Detroit has this reputation of picking guys maybe earlier than other people would have picked them, the way they did with Kasper at 8, the way they did with Moritz Seider. Moritz Seider turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it means a heck of a lot for a team out of the playoffs that, signs a European guy that comes over early and, gets to play a couple of games. It was probably part of the contract, just like with Farrell to, I'll sign, but you got to give me some games, right?
Yeah.
Earn that contract or whatever. But yeah, Kasper's a good prospect for sure. And it could be a guy outside the top 10 that ends up being because I don't think there's anybody in the, that stands out as a kind of a franchise type player from last year's draft class. Some very good players, but no McDavid's or anything an obvious guy that's going to jump out. So yeah, it could be anybody in the first round that ends up being the best player out of the draft class. But certainly to date, anyways, it doesn't look like the Canadians made a mistake passing on Wright number 1 because I think there's a few guys that have looked better this year.
A couple of players in tonight's 5-0 loss by the Canadians versus the Red Wings, playing with the Red Wings from La Belle Province. David Perron was absolutely unbelievable with 2 goals and 1 assist. He had 5 shots on goal. He could have had a third there at the end. Just puts himself at the right place at the right time. Joe Veleno, the goal that he scored, you could just tell he got in behind the D. He was screening Caden Primeau. His feet were moving. He was trying to track the puck as much as he could. His deflection was absolutely beautiful. And he had a great entry near the end of period number 2, where at one point it almost looked like he was pretty much going to go end to end there and just go through a couple of guys. And he had a pass, and then he had a shot right at the buzzer. And I thought Joe Veleno played a good game tonight. What do you think? Here's the guy who was he the 3rd centerman drafted in the Kotkaniemi draft? There were 2 that went ahead of him. One was Kotkaniemi, one was Barrett Hayton. Veleno was he the 3rd or the 4th?
We couldn't even name the Habs that are out of the lineup, so trying to get me to remember what position of the top 30 players.
I'll probably I'll try and look it up here to see
how many 4-year-old draft, Tony.
How many centermen?
I'm surprised you didn't start with Veleno. I thought that's why you're having me on. You just want to you want to pump Veleno's tires.
No. I listen. You know what I look. And by the way, was I way off? There were a lot of centermen drafted before. Pardon me. There were a lot of centermen. Okay, so Ty Dellandrea went after Barrett Hayton as a centerman. And then there was Liam Foudy, there was Jay O'Brien, there was Rasmus Kupari, there was Isaac Lundestrom, who went 24th, and Joe Veleno went 30th to the Red Wings. So there was probably good 6-7 centermen drafted before Joe Veleno. But you know what I like about Joe is every time I see him, Grant, I see progression in his game, which obviously he's a young player. It's what you would expect. But, I don't think that, he's going to be centering a top line. But I think he can carve out a niche as a good 3rd-line centerman in the National Hockey League who can have a pretty long career and, make a few bucks.
I hope so, because, he was an exceptional player status kid that everyone thought was going to be a star, and, it must have been tough for him not getting picked as high because he was ranked top 10 right up till November of his draft year, I think. And to drop that far and everything, I felt for the kid a bit, and I'm happy for him. I'm glad to see that he's looks like he's rounding it. He's going to become a regular NHLer, and a year or two ago, there might have been a bit of question about that. Even,
Yeah,
is he going to make it? And he looks like he's done that. He looks better than Zadina at this point, you know. And a few of those guys you listed there, you know, they're drafted as centers, or it seems like they list just about every, you know, if there's some question whether it's a center or a winger, if, you know, they always mark him as a center. A few of those guys aren't going to play center or aren't playing center at the NHL level. So he may have been the fourth real true center, you know, drafted out of that bunch. But he's, I think Detroit's got some really nice young talent, you know, going forward. Edmondson as well is going to be a pretty solid defenseman, I think. And Jonathan Berggren's another kid that they drafted at the start of the second round a couple of years ago, who's had a breakout year to a certain degree. And they've got they did it like Montreal and Ottawa. They got a lot of top 80 picks in the last few drafts.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see the both with Montreal and Detroit that these kids are starting to make an impact. You have to wait a few years, and Montreal, you know, a bunch of kids, and then next year as well, there'll be a few more that are ready to make the jump. And
Lucas Raymond looks like he could play.
Yeah. Well, you know, top 5 pick too, right?
Yeah. But you're right when you brought up Zadina. I mean, Zadina's got 3 goals in 30 games this year with the Detroit Red Wings. And when the Canadians passed up or didn't select Zadina because they selected Kotkaniemi, there was a big sector of the fan base who they wanted a goal scorer at that time, and everyone was saying draft Zadina. And some people might give Trevor Timmins heck every now and then for a pick that they may not have liked or may not have panned out the way they thought. But if a lot of Canadians fans would have been scouts, they probably would have had Philip Zadina here, and they would have been criticized for that too. It just goes to show. It's not to criticize anyone. It just goes to show you how hard it is to scout. I think it's the toughest thing in hockey of any executive position.
Yeah, and KK's another goal and assist tonight. I think he's up to 16 goals, 39. He's going to hit 40 points, and it's slow progression, but. You know, he'll be a 20 goal, 50, maybe a little better than that, you know, in his prime. And that's a pretty good sentiment in the NHL. It's not maybe what we had hoped as a top 3 pick, but I think history's shown that there might have been 5 premium players in that draft class, and, you know, altogether. And, you know, you don't always get one of them with the top 5 pick.
I'm encouraged by what I see from Kotkaniemi, and I think I think he's gonna have even more productive seasons than that. I think he's gonna end up having a 25 goal season at one point.
Oh, for sure. Being careful, you know.
No, I know that. Yeah,
20 plus. Meaning, you know, he might hit 30 at some point. 20, he's got the shot, you know.
20 plus and 50 plus going forward. I mean, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. There's no doubt about it. All right, okay. The fourth line tonight, my God, they got absolutely just eaten up and spit out. I mean, it was bad, man. Pitlick, Tierney, and Pizzetta combined -8. It was a tough night at the office.
Well, they shouldn't be, you know, other than Pizzetta. I don't think the other 2 guys have NHL jobs next year, you know. Pizzetta's probably ideally 12, 13, 14 forward, 12 to 14.
Yeah.
You know. And I mean, you put him with good fourth liners and he's effective, but Tierney and Pitlick are, you know, when the Habs are healthy, they're not playing. So it's you know, they never pick up Tierney if everybody's healthy. So it's not a big surprise that the fourth line, you know, would struggle. It's the first time playing together as well, right? So
yeah. Jose Levesque says Kotkaniemi is gone. Can we move on? My fault. I brought it there to Kotkaniemi when I started talking about Joe Veleno and the Kotkaniemi draft. We don't want to upset Jose, okay? So we're gonna move on. You know,
good.
Tierney, I still can't get used to the fact that he's wearing like number 67, like from Pacioretty to Chris Tierney. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Well, you know that it's not Pacioretty once, you know, when you see him, once he gets the puck. Okay, that's not Patch. Yeah, it definitely a downgrade for sure.
Yeah. Ylonen, we've had a chance to see him pretty much on every line since he's been here. He had a real nice opportunity tonight to play with, a pretty good player. Would you say right now, today, Tuesday, April 4th, Jesse Ylonen on starting night next year will be in the lineup?
No, I think he's in tough. I wish, he just never got bigger. He's just so slight. I don't know, he's got speed, but he doesn't use it nearly often enough. He's got a great shot, but he doesn't use it nearly often enough. We saw flashes for a couple of weeks where he started carrying the puck a little more, but in his own zone, like, he gets overwhelmed defensively, I find. He's not nearly as good defensively as his dad was, which is too bad because his dad was a really good defensive centerman in the NHL. But I think Montreal is going to look to have a more of a mix and get some size, some heavy guys in the top 9, and Ylonen's light. He might be 165 pounds, so
yeah.
I don't think he has enough skill. He's not consistent enough to be in the top 6. And I think they want more size, because they're still going to have Gallagher and a couple of probably RHP in the bottom 6. Well, you want to complement that with some size and some grit, and that's not Ylonen. So
you think he's a tweener? You think he's a tweener?
Yeah. A Charles Houdon type. Just not quite skilled enough for the top 6, and not big enough, well-rounded enough for the bottom 6.
All right, okay. Why don't we do this? Let's move the conversation and talk about Corey Schooneman. It's a very small sample. Of course, he was brought up for this game. 15 minutes and 40 seconds. Here's a guy who last year came in, a real good impression. You got the feeling that Marty St. Louis liked him, and then they bring up all the young defensemen all at the same time this year, and Jack Guy ends up surprising everyone by making the team, and then Caden Gooley's on the team, and Jordan Harris is on the team, and later on, Barron comes up and he plays too. I like Schooneman tonight, man. I think he's the defenseman. I mean, obviously, Matheson was the one who I thought was the Canadiens' best defenseman tonight. He's just some shifts. He's just magic out there.
Yeah.
But I like Schooneman. Like, I just it's
Yeah. I know you liked him last year too, Tony. I remember we talked about
the job, right? But he doesn't have an X factor, right? It just seems like he's good at everything, but I'm not so sure he's great at anything,
No, he's a little vanilla. That's what we like to say in the scouting world, He's not very big. He's not super quick or strong or have a great shot or anything like that, but he's smooth, very smooth with the puck, pretty poised, smooth skater. I mean, in a nothing game like that, it's hard to, I don't think you can take too much out of it, really. There's some guys that had really bad games and some guys that looked better, but, I don't think in the long run that you can evaluate from one game, one way or the other, any of these guys going forward. Just, I hope he gets another look, and if he looks as good as he did. But the numbers just, I'm afraid that, you've got a really good, solid AHL defenseman for the rest of his contract, and, have him down there as a leader, and Xavier Ouellet type, who isn't quite good enough for the NHL. A bit of a tweener too, I think, Tony.
Gurianov has tailed off over the last couple of games and not putting the puck in the net the way he did when he got here. And, I saw him make a pass tonight, like just in the neutral zone for Drouin that just got picked off. It was just so telegraphed. It was just not a very good pass, and it was not a very smart play either. Marty St. Louis told members of the media, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, he said, at this point, the evaluations are finished, guys. Like I've seen everything I need to see. And he was not talking about Gurianov, but he was talking about players in general, right? I've seen everything there is to see. And then I'm wondering if St. Louis feels, because we know who Gurianov is as a hockey player, right? He's a player with a lot of flaws, right? A lot of flaws. It's just a lot of tools, but he hasn't been able to put them together, and they end up leading to a lot of flaws. But the upside could be very big, and I'm wondering if Marty St. Louis, if there's any chance he thinks that Gurianov's upside is greater than all the flaws that he has. And I'm not so sure, based on the last couple of games, if the season were to end tomorrow, and there's not too many games left, by the way, they got one on Thursday, they got one on Saturday, and then they got one next week on Wednesday and Thursday. So there's 4 left. But if the season were to end today, it's not looking good for Gurianov, I don't think.
No, I said that 3 games ago that he needs to play, not like Armia where it's 1 game out of every 4 or so.
Yeah.
Where he shows up. He needs to show up for, at least 4 of the last 7, and I think there's been 3 or 2 since, and so he's going to have to do 4 of the last 5, I guess, because it certainly wasn't the last 2 games. So I don't know. Like, qualifying offer is going to have to be a little higher than what he makes, I think. So It's going to have to be $3 million. When you can give that spot to an entry level contract, there's some kids.
Just under 3.3, I think, if memory serves me well, but I could be wrong. But it is over $3 million. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think they're going to be tight. They want to re-sign Caulfield. They may want to sign a free agent. What have you. They'll be close to the cap, and that extra $3 million or $2 million that you can save, but with an entry level contract, I have a feeling that, his spot will be taken by somebody on an ELC, and the money will be used elsewhere, because, there's some good young players that I think can bring as much and will bring more in the future than Gurianov. I think he's averaged 13 goals per 82.
Yeah.
He's in his prime. 12th overall pick. He's just somebody that just didn't, wasn't consistent enough. We see a lot of Russians like that. Not to, pinpoint that he's Russian or whatever, but there can be issues with consistency with a lot of the talented young kids that come over. And Gurianov is just, just like Armia, but I think at least Armia can bring some other, defensive game, a little better along the boards. Like, Gurianov's not very physical. He's a big body, but they don't need just big bodies. They need a big body that plays like a big body to complement the smaller guys in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm not the president of the Yoel Armia fan club either. And I realize Bobby says, I told you weeks ago that he's not coming back because he's too much of a one-dimensional player and they have too many guys like him. I just wish, in a perfect world, they could have got rid of some of those other one-dimensional players and still give some more time to a player like Gurianov, give him a bigger sample size, right? This is not a big sample size. I mean, let's not forget here. You're traded, you're traded, you come over, there's an adaptation, there's a new coach, there's new teammates, there's new line mates, there's a new city, there's a new apartment, there's new weather, there's new this, there's new that, there's new everything, right? And so, new system. And so, look, I get it. I just, if you would tell me that, you can find a way to trade one of those one-dimensional players that has a year left on his contract to bring back Gurianov. I mean, and that's what I'd like to happen. But we know that those players that'll have a year left on their contract, the only way we'll be able to trade them probably next year, if they're healthy, is going to be at the deadline, so teams don't incur a lot of salary between then and the end of the year. All right. Okay. So what's on your agenda over the next little while here? What do you have circled? What are you going to be watching?
Yeah, just one point on that, Tony, if you don't mind. Just
I don't mind. This is your show, Grant. You kidding me? Or
yeah,
what?
No, just I think even if they got rid of, like, you're talking like Hoffman or one of those guys, I still don't think there'd be a spot for Gurianov in the lineup next year. The way he's playing, I really think that it'll go to an entry level contract, and the money will be spent wiser elsewhere. I wouldn't bring him back at this point. I know he had his go in Dallas there.
Yeah.
I know it's a short sample size here, but they had their fill in Dallas. There was a reason why they traded him for Dadonov.
Wouldn't it be amazing if the last game of the regular season versus the Boston Bruins, or Saturday night in Toronto versus the Leafs, that Gurianov scores 3 or 4? That would be amazing, because then half of the people that are saying don't bring him back are going to say, "Hey, did you see that game? There's something there."
Yeah,
you gotta bring him back, right? All right, okay.
Yeah.
Grant, thanks so much for your time. As always, very much appreciated. And I look forward to talking to you again. He's Grant McCagg of Recruits and Recruits.ca. Used to be a scout for the Montreal Canadiens during the Bob Gainey administration. And now he's doing his thing based out of his home independently in Ottawa for Recruits. Subscribe. He gives it away for a song and a dance, and it's worth it. Talk to you soon, Grant.
Thanks, Tony.
You're very welcome. There you have it, Grant McCagg. All right, okay. We can take your calls, because I told you that we would be taking your calls after Montreal Canadiens games. Somebody said, Tony, but you keep on playing with your wrist. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to repeat it now. Okay. I know nobody cares, but my wrist is killing me. All right. Okay. So it's hurting. It has been causing me some discomfort for about a month. I went to see the osteo, and she massaged it a little bit, and it could have been a pinched nerve, or this, that, or whatever. And what else here? Okay. I had another brace that I had on, which I since took off. I don't know. It fell off somewhere. But anyway, I showed my buddy Jean-Charles today, and he goes, "That could be carpal tunnel." He said, "I got operated for that." Anyway, hopefully it's not carpal tunnel, and hopefully I don't have to get operated, but it's causing me quite a bit of discomfort. Therefore, when you see me going like this, the fact that I'm stretching my hands is actually alleviating some of the pain. Okay. So there are a couple of comments on what I was doing with my hands. Now, folks, if I do something, I'm doing it for a reason. All right? Okay. You called.
You called. Presented by Playground.
Just up the DPI on your computer mouse. I have no idea what that means. Explain that for somebody ignorant like me. But anyway, maybe it'll come in. All right, so it is You Called, and You Called is brought to you by Playground, your premier gaming destination located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. And if you'd like to speak with me, I know 66 Spinning, who's my friend Stéphane in Quebec Cité. You know what? He called last time. Before we get to any calls here, Agnello and Sammy, can I bring you up for a second before I get to anybody? Can I bring you up? Can I bring them up? I probably can't bring them up. Oh, we have Johnny and Laval. All right. Johnny. Can I bring them up? Johnny.
Yay.
Johnny and Laval?
Yes, Tony. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm beautiful. Great day, beautiful day. The Habs lost.
You're beautiful. Hey, who's better than you? Nobody. Johnny, turn down the sound, because there's a delay, right? So we're gonna end up hearing ourselves twice.
Well, I'm just saying it's a beautiful day. Habs lost. Hopefully we can get Bedard.
Well, they're going to have to lose every game between now and the end of the season to make sure they finish as low as possible in the standings, and then you're going to need the luck of the draw, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah. How are you feeling? What's wrong with your hand, buddy?
It's not my hand. It's not my hand. It's my wrist. And I don't know what's wrong with it. I went to see the osteo, and she massaged it a little bit, but I'm still having a lot of discomfort. So I don't know what's wrong with it, but there is something wrong with it. Pardon me?
You have the same problem I had. What's it called?
Carpal tunnel?
I had an operation on my wrist.
Really? You're the second person who tells me this today. You have no idea, right? Like I can't even look at the sight of blood. Like if you tell me I have to go in for an operation, like I think I'm gonna pass out right now. Like I think that's gonna happen. I'm gonna pass out right now. So now,
not too bad.
So now you gotta prepare. You gotta prepare me for this, okay, Johnny? If it is this, and I'm gonna need surgery on my wrist, am I gonna be okay?
Well, it's a day surgery. You go in, he freezes your wrist. You're going to be okay. Freezes your wrist, the doctor. Cuts a little bit above your palm there, right to a little bit on your wrist. And again, about 20 stitches. He's going to stitch you up. You're going to walk out of there. It's a bit painful, but you'll be okay.
It's a bit painful.
I'm a smoke meat cutter. And whenever we do repetitive movements, that can happen. You probably do something with your hand or your wrist.
Well, I can guarantee you that I do something with my hand and my wrist every day.
You probably do the same motions every day.
Oh, yeah, I could guarantee you I do the same motions every day.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just saying, you know, at my workplace here with my hand and my wrist, I'm doing the same motions every day.
What do you do that's the same motion? What kind of motion you do?
I'm, touching my mouse here on my laptop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You do the same. You might need it.
Yeah.
20 stations. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I have to go fly my kite.
Yeah, so go fly your kite. So I got to get 20 stitches. He's going to go fly his kite. He left. Is this a joke or what? It's the second person who tells me today they think I have to get operated. Like, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Wait a few weeks, Tony. Doubt it's anything serious, says Bobby. Bobby, I've had it for about 4 weeks. It just keeps on getting worse and worse. Tony, your wrist, you need to do reverse curls and wrist curls. You've always had soft forearms and wrists. No, trust me, I haven't. I exercise my forearms and my wrists quite a bit, very unfortunately. Where are we going here? Joe and Brassard.
Yes, Tony, how are you?
I'm not bad. I mean, a couple of people are freaking me out here, telling me that I might have to get operated on my wrist. And then Johnny Laval tells me that if I do the same motion with my wrist, chances are that's why, it's aggravated. And yeah, you know what? I
hope you feel better, Tony.
Yeah.
I
wonder if I wonder if I would have this wrist problem if I'd be single. Probably not. You understood everything. Yeah, you're sharp. You're fast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Tony, Jeff Wilson.
Joe, are you married? Did you marry Italian too?
No, I'm Ukrainian. I got divorced.
Ukrainian. Okay. Oh, and you got divorced?
I'm divorced. Well, we're good friends.
Yeah, no. Congratulations. Yeah. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it again.
No, wow. I mean,
hey. It's not. It's work, right? I'm sure.
Yeah.
People that are married today.
It's
work, right?
Yeah, Joe. If you marry Italian.
Hey, Tony, I know what you're talking about.
Once you have the kids, the party's over, bro. It's all over. Then you're dying. Then you're dying a slow death.
But they say happy wife, happy life.
Happy life, happy wife. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the way you say it. Yeah.
Mind you, last month was a good month because she's in the mood every month that ends in Arch. But other than that, hey, listen, Joe. Somebody just said right now on the YouTube that you're a snoozer. They want you to kind of like bring a little bit more life to the party, okay? Show them you're not a snoozer. Bring some life to the party. Let's go. Awe parala. Let's go.
Okay.
So, Joe, we're going to do this all. Hold on a second. Joe, time out. Joe, time out. We're going to do this all over again, and you're going to bring a lot of life to the table. This is the Sick Podcast with Marinaro. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. The expectations are very, very high. This show is the #1 Habs podcast in the world. You understand? To jump on a line is a privilege. You understand? So I'm going to you, and yeah, how's it going? Yeah, your wrist is, yeah. Okay, so let's do it again. On 3, 2, 1. We're going to Joe and Brassard. Joe, what's going on?
How's it going, Tony? How's it going, buddy?
Very, very good, Joe. Very good. Just
pumped. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm calling here the best Sick podcast in the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100%. I'm pumped too.
Yeah, and I've been following you since the days you were on the Montreal Forum. And I am a loyal listener.
I thank you very much for following me over. I said before, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I had the absolute best listeners, the most loyal following, and they've supported me. They come over, and you have no idea how much I appreciate it. And that's why I keep telling Agnello, we have to have events. I want to start meeting more people. I want to start shaking more hands.
I would love to meet you, Tony.
I want to start taking more pictures. Why don't we get a DJ? Why don't we play some music? Why don't we dance? Why don't we sing? Why don't we sing? Why don't we do karaoke? Why don't we sing? You were saying?
We have some friends. Well, Patrice Bernier is a friend of mine, good friend of mine.
Okay, yeah. You want me to bring Patrice Bernier too?
No, I mean we can go together. We grew up together. We played soccer together and stuff.
Oh, you played soccer together with Patrice? Yeah, of course.
I know he sees you. He talks to you and stuff like that.
Yes. I have Patrice on speed dial, as a matter of fact.
No, there you go.
Yeah. We talk all the time.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He has invited me to his fundraiser, which raises money for La Fondation d'Haïti, the Haiti Foundation.
Yeah. I was there. I was there last year. This year I didn't. I'm not going to make it, but the year before the pandemic, actually.
Yes, of course. Okay, so we got that out of the way. We have friends in common. Okay, now what do you tell me?
Yes, I was going to tell you, Tony. Jeff Molson. He's laughing at us.
He's laughing.
You know what? Do you know why Jeff Molson is laughing at us?
Because everyone's buying tickets.
Thank you, sir.
That's why.
Like what I'm going to tell you is. The Bell Center is full. Where do you get?
Joe, it wasn't full tonight, and it's not going to be full next game either. Believe me when I tell you that.
Yeah, but how about the season tickets? You can't get season tickets.
But hold on a second. Here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. Most of this, you know how many season tickets are picked up by companies? Like we make it sound like it's your average Joe who works for minimum wage, that those are all the people that are buying tickets. I mean, a lot of them are picked up by big corporations in Montreal. I mean, it's an expense. I mean, they write it off at the end of the year. So look, I saw something somewhere on social media. There was an article, somebody wrote that fans should get their money back because the Canadians aren't dressing, an NHL lineup and and all that stuff. Okay. Listen, I understand that tickets aren't given away, and I understand that it's a lot of money. I get that. Okay. But I don't agree with that. That, if the Canadians lose 3-0 to the Carolina Hurricanes and they get outshot 50-16 or whatever they get outshot, that you got to give fans their money back at the end of the game. When you go to a sporting event, okay, there are no guarantees. There's none. You might watch a good game. You might watch a bad game. You might watch an average game. You might watch a game that starts slow and has a great ending. You might watch a game that has a great start and has a slow ending. You might watch a game that ends in regulation. You might watch a game that goes to overtime. You might watch a game that has great goals. You might watch a game that has no goals. I don't agree with this stuff.
Hold on. When did we have an outstanding player, an entertaining player? I know which name you're going to give me.
But they're in a rebuild. Joe, they're in a rebuild.
Hold on.
They're in a rebuild.
Forever, Tony. Forever.
But hold on a second. They're in a salary cap era. They spend to the cap, okay? Or close to.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's Jeff? Like, do you think Jeff Molson tells them not to go out and get a star? Like, you're upset at Jeff Molson because when was the last time they had a star? You know, he doesn't tell the scouts not to draft stars.
Well, I understand, but I mean, the best time, I think, besides if we were not going to go in the 80s and when they won the cup in 86, 93, but, you know, and then there was the whole Patrick Roy incident with Tremblay and the team went in a dip and yada, yada, right? And then the team started to get better and then we had Kovalev and it was the Boston rivalry. Do you remember all that?
I remember all that. Of course, listen, of course I remember this. Look, I'm not going to, I understand where you're coming from and you're right because I've said, that I would have loved for the Montreal Canadiens to have an offensive star for like about 15 years. But for about 15 years, the Canadiens banked on a goalie. How many times did Marc Bergevin said, hey, listen, guys, I'm not going to apologize that we have Carey Price and nets. I'm not going to apologize that Carey Price stole the game. I'm not going to apologize that Carey Price was the first star. Other teams have 40 and 50 goal scorers that are first stars. He's our 40 goal scorer. He's our 50 goal scorer. Personally, I like forward. I grew up in the Lafleur era, right?
By the way, who's going to be our next goalie? It doesn't look too good there too, but
who cares who's going to be our next goalie? You're asking me who's going to be the next star, and now you're asking me who's going to be the next goalie. That's the furthest thing from my mind. Who do I care who's going to be the next goalie? Who's going to be your next star? You know who's going to be your next star? Cole Caulfield.
You know what? I'm going to give you that. He's got something, that kid.
Well, sure. I hope so. He has something. He was on pace to score close to 50. Cole Caulfield is going to have seasons of 50 goals in the National Hockey League if he stays healthy. And if Cole Caulfield has seasons of 50 goals in the National Hockey League, then he's a star.
Not a big guy.
But why? There's a book that says that you have to be big. The Montreal Canadiens coach, is he big? He's one of the greatest hockey players I've seen in the last 20 years.
True. I agree.
You have
to be realistic. His size. He's not a big guy. He has to be careful out there.
That's why he's got to be careful out there. Josh Anderson's much bigger than Cole Caulfield. Who would you rather have? I don't understand the point. When you're small, Joe, listen to me carefully, okay? Joe, listen to me carefully, and then I'm going to let you go. You have to listen to me, okay? Because I'm an expert, okay, in sports and in women. You understand? Okay?
Yeah.
When you're small, you've been small all your life, you have to protect yourself. So you have to exercise your brain more than a player like Slafkovsky would have, because Slafkovsky, being as big as he was, if guys were going to bounce into him at lower levels, they were going to bounce off of him and they were going to fall on the floor. When you're small, like Caulfield, when you're small, like Saku Koivu was, you have to exercise your brain. When you're not a big guy like Mike Ribeiro, you have to exercise your brain and you have to take a lot more information.
I love Mike Ribeiro.
Yeah, you have to take a lot more information than other players did. All right. And even though you might think they might get tagged a lot, take a look at Cole Caulfield early on in his career. Okay. And take a look at Juraj Slafkovsky, who got tagged a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
Slafkovsky. He's a bigger guy. Does it make you feel better about the situation? Every time he gets hit, I think he's going to have a concussion. Galchenyuk, much bigger guy than Cole Caulfield. He got tagged a lot with his head down. Kotkaniemi, much bigger guy than Cole Caulfield. He got tagged a lot with his head down because when you're a bigger player...
Right. You're right about that.
Eric Lindros got tagged all the time. Why? Because he had a habit of skating with his head down, because in junior hockey, it didn't matter if he get hit. They were going to bounce off him. But then he got to the National Hockey League and boom, he got tagged by Scott Stevens. And that's what happens. All right.
You got a good point there. For sure, Caulfield is a talented player. Thank God we picked him. We screwed up on the Kotkaniemi. I'm sorry to say that. My God, Brady, the kid there.
Look, you're right about Brady, but I think Grant is right about the fact that, Kotkaniemi is turning into a pretty good NHLer. 16 goals, 39 or 40 points. You'd have to think that 25 goals and 50 points is in the realm of possibility next year. We'll talk to you soon, Joe, in Brassard.
Okay, Tony. Okay.
All right, Joe.
Take care.
All right, Joe. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. And there you have it. That was Joe. we should be done here, but I'm the type of person that if there's somebody on the line, like I get to them. And Sammy's telling me that we're going to Tony in Val-des-Bois. Oui, allô?
Hello.
Oui, allô?
Hello, Tony.
Est-ce qui parle?
Tony.
C'est Tony. Oui, Tony, c'est Tony. Comment ça va, mon chum?
Pas pire, toi?
Pas pire, Tony, pas pire. C'est Tony, toi, ou c'est-tu Antoine?
Oui, ben c'est Anthony, mais tout le monde m'appelle Tony.
Tout le monde t'appelle Tony.
Ah oui.
OK.
Must be a good name.
Ben oui, ben oui. C'est Antoine, là. C'est Antoine, c'est Anthony. C'est Anthony.
Anthony, yeah.
Anthony, es-tu, de quelle nationalité es-tu, là? What nationality are you?
Canadian. Well, French Canadian.
French Canadian, of course. Yes, French Canadian. Okay. Because
Yeah.
you know, I just there are French Canadians that are named Anthony. That's right. Because I work with one, right? I work with one at TVA Sport, Anthony Martineau. So your name is Anthony, okay? But you go as Tony from Val-des-Bois, okay? Where is Val-des-Bois?
So it's a small town. I'm about 30 minutes away from the 50, going up the 309. I work out of Gatineau, so I'm about a 45, 50-minute drive from Gatineau.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Good stuff. I was wondering when you said 309, I was like, where's that? You know, like I'm in LaSalle, and sometimes I got to use my Waze on my phone to actually get to Villemard. You know what I mean? So when you start telling me you're close to Highway 309 there or whatever, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
That's all good.
What do you want to talk about?
So I had a question whenever you guys were talking about goalies.
Yeah.
And it's actually worked out good tonight. I'm working night shift, but I got off early tonight, so I got to listen live. And so I got to call in. And so we got Price, who is still under contract. Correct?
Yeah.
And like, where is he? Like, couldn't he? Like, I know he's not fit to play accordingly, but
listen, Tony. This is all you need to know. You ready? You ready? What you need to know?
Yeah.
Carey Price on long-term injury reserve. The insurance company that the National Hockey League deals with and has for all the teams, they're paying his salary. All right, and Carey Price's career is over. Unofficially, his career is over. He won't play in the National Hockey League again. It's over, bro. It's over.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
good.
For that, I understand. But what I was wondering is he wouldn't be able to like spend time with the younger goalies in the team.
If he's on long-term injury reserve, he can't get on the ice because the second he gets on the ice there, they got to take him off of long-term injury reserve. I mean, what do you mean spend time with the goalies? Actually just kind of like mentor them or?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he could do that. And besides,
right. That's all I was kind of wondering about with the long-term reserve and all that. I wasn't sure.
But you understand, you understand the concept too, right? That Carey Price is banged up and has certain injuries that just won't allow him to play the position again, very unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's why.
So I mean, he's going to go on the ice with somebody, and he's going to say, "Okay, well, go down and put yourself in the butterfly," but he can't do it himself.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Anything else or what? What's the story here? Anything else?
No, that's kind of just.
Are you sure? Because I have a newfound energy here. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, let me know.
Oh well, we can
we could talk about whatever you want to talk about. You want to go all night or what?
I don't mind.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah. We've gone all night before.
No, it's awesome. It's like I'm talking to an old friend here. I've
been
listening for so long. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've been listening for a while or what? Watching for a while?
So I met you when you were working somewhere else.
Yeah. No. You can. Yeah. Where when I worked at the radio station, or?
Oh yeah, and no, I was listening. It was cool because back then I got to listen to you like on holidays and stuff whenever I was working.
Yeah.
And now I can listen to you in the mornings too and stuff on my way in.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And no, it's good.
Those were good times, man. Those were good times. There were some good memories, but we started creating a lot of good ones here. And when before all is said and done, we're going to create some great ones here.
Oh yeah, and like even when I was waiting on the phone, the elevator music was sick.
Oh, really? Do they play elevator music when you wait on hold? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's pretty sick music, man.
Oh, I didn't know that they played elevator music. Okay, so that's it. So it's elevator music that they play, eh?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say elevator, but it's good good waiting music.
Yeah, this is something that you need to know. So now that you and I we talked about what we had to talk about, and now we're establishing a conversation. I had a business lunch today, and podcasting came up, and I said, this is what I love about podcasting. My first love was radio. That's what I listened to growing up as a kid, and that's where, I got the itch and I got the bug, and I was inspired and stuff like that. But this is what I love about podcasting. Okay, podcasting.
Yeah,
you can do it from anywhere in the world. So I'm here today in my podcast studio that I built in my home. Next week, I can be in Florida and I can have a green screen up, and you know what? You'll have absolutely no idea where I am unless I tell you. So I can do it from anywhere in the world.
Nice.
That's a pretty cool thing to happen. Number two, you can have podcasts where you talk about sports, but you can also have podcasts where you're talking about one particular topic. We've decided for the most part, like a 99%, to dedicate this podcast to Montreal Canadiens talk. So if you want your Montreal Canadiens fix, boom, you come to this podcast. Whereas if you're listening to other platforms or other mediums, and it's an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, if what you wanted was the hockey talk, well, you might get 20 minutes in the first hour, and you might get 30 in the second, and you might get 20 in the third, and you might get 40 in the fourth, and so you'd have to tune into different times. So here you have it just like that. You come in, you can listen whenever you want. You can listen live at 10 o'clock at night. You can listen the next day, but you can also watch. So if I'm playing with my wrist, you can see me playing with my wrist. If I'm spraying water in my hair, you can see me spraying water in my hair. It's a pretty cool thing.
And that's what's awesome. And I was super stoked the other day. The guys were talking about how they're starting. There's another sick media that's going to be coming out for the New York Jets, which is my NFL team.
Yes. So, my NFL team too, funny enough.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and then 3 weeks later, Aaron Rodgers is still not a New York Jet.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on there.
But I'm not sure that would be the way to go, Like they've been building something over the past couple of years, and now all of a sudden they want to try and be the best team in the division, be competitive, and try and win a Super Bowl? Like, what's his window? 2 years?
Exactly, but at the same time, I think it's just desperation because they haven't made the playoffs in so long.
Yeah. No, I hear you. All right, okay.
I think it's just desperation move. Maybe Mark Bergevin's calling the shots there now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Another thing about podcasts, right? Look, you're part of this chat. You're part of this community. You can get on the chat on YouTube Live, on Facebook Live, on Twitter Live. You start chatting back and forth and stuff like that. Conversation is made. In an ideal world, what I'd like to have here is I'd like to have on everyone's avatar, I'd like to have their picture come up. I'd like to have more people that are calling in actually end up being video. Going forward, I'd like to have more than 2 or 3 people together on at the same time. I'm giving away all my secrets here, what I want to do going forward. And who knows, maybe we can even make kind of like a dating service out of this. We can get people together, and who knows, we might end up putting people together.
You never know.
Yeah. My grandfather used to do that, by the way. He used to set people up. You're going to marry her. You're going to marry him. Okay. He used to get them together and stuff like that. Yeah. I think I have that gift too. I bring people together, you know?
Yeah, that's what you were saying the other day about your grandfather.
Yeah. I have that gift. All right, my man. It's good talking to you.
You too there, Tony. You take care. And
yes. You take care as well. All right. Okay. All right. Love is in the air, says Bobby. Ryan says, like POF? No, it would be better than POF. I think I just gave Agnello an idea. Can we bring up Agnello and Sammy or what? Why don't we do this? Agnello, Sammy, come up. Let's go. Agnello, Sammy, let's go. Hey.
We're not doing a dating service.
Listen to me carefully, okay? I think I could be amazing at this.
What?
We do a kind of dating service podcast, and we connect people, right? We make some people talk to different people. I ask them both questions. I sit back, I watch the conversation, I see where it's going, I see if they connect. Maybe, you know what, I think I find a better fit and stuff like that. I'm kind of like holding the candle while it's going on. I'm telling you, we can have some really fun times. Now, are you in this with me with Sick Media, or do I have to go independently?
You might have to go independently.
You don't want to go in with me? I thought we were partners in everything we do.
But look, people are just commenting. You know what they're saying?
Yeah.
Just go on Tinder. Why do I have to listen to the podcast?
Because when people go on Tinder and they swipe and they connect, you don't have a personality like me there. You don't have somebody charming like me there. You don't have somebody witty like me there. And you don't have conversation. And you're not live on social media while this is going on.
It's a good idea.
Think about it. All these dating services, right? They all do it confidentially, right? They all do it confidentially, right? And that's okay, right? But we could do something actually more out in the open. It would be amazing.
So we're going to call it the Sick Media Presents a Cupid Podcast?
Cupid Podcast?
Yeah.
How about we call it, taking, a little bit of a sports theme, The Match?
That's good.
Huh?
Yeah, that's
The
good.
Match.
Yeah.
My God, I'm telling you, my marketing.
You're a genius.
Mind you, it was Dawson College, but it's working out.
Yeah, you're a genius, man. You're a genius.
Franca Filato says, I'm pazzo.
Franca Filato said before she loves you too, so.
Who's Franca Filato, by the way?
No idea.
She related to our buddy Frankie Filato?
No, he's Filato. That's Filata. Filato.
Oh, she's Filata?
Yeah. He's Filato.
Agnello, I'm telling you, judging by all the comments, I think we're onto something here.
Yeah, me too. You might be right.
AG says only issue is people don't want their personal stuff on the air. Some people wouldn't mind.
See, one guy's saying, Tony, I need your help to get a girlfriend. See? Who likes Montreal. Now you started the whole thing. Now people are going to start sending you emails tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I can get you a girlfriend, no problem.
Yeah. Just email Tony tomorrow, Tony@thesickpodcast.com. You'll get your girlfriend, boyfriend.
No, we could do that for sure.
Yeah.
Either that, or judging by some of the comments, maybe we can set some people up with some of our collaborators. Marc-Andre Perreault is quite popular here, I think.
Yeah, he's popular.
Yeah, he's popular. Kelly just sent him a heart and stuff like that. Maybe we can do that.
Yep.
No, but Agnello, all kidding aside.
So we used to have a game that we used to play when I used to be in another business. Right?
We're onto something here.
Listen,
Agnello, we're onto something. The only problem is everyone's watching. I just divulged it to everyone, and someone else is going to come out with it.
Yeah. So we used to have a game when I used to be in another business, right? That when everybody would meet. So let's say we do our event in June, whatever. We do an event in June. So everybody that comes in, you give them a card, a playing card. Ace of Hearts, Queen of Diamonds, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So the people walk around the whole place and they try to match whoever has that card. So if you hook up with another Ace of Hearts, that's basically your date for the night. So every girl that comes in, you give one set of card, and all the guys that come in, you give them another set of card. So it actually gets everybody talking to each other. until they meet the right person. Like
Run that by me again because I'm a little slow. So you give everyone a card.
Playing cards, yes.
All right. Okay. So let's just say we're distributing cards. Okay. And you get the ace of hearts.
Yeah.
And I get the other ace of hearts.
Yeah. Then you hook up.
And what am I going to do with you?
No, you got to give girls one set and guys another set.
Ah, okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
I just want to answer this guy, Nicholas Ludd there. Are we having more hockey talk or just silly talk for the rest of the show?
The show, we guarantee their hour.
Yeah,
the show's done.
The show's done. Exactly.
The show's done. Yeah. Thank you.
Exactly.
You know, and you know what? We'd like for you to stick around, but if you folks, this is what we do. We told you since the beginning, right? It starts at 10 p.m. We guarantee an hour. Okay. We guarantee an hour. We gave you the hour. We gave you more than the hour of hockey talk, more than the hour. We had Grant McCagg on for like the first 48 minutes. We read a couple of comments. We took a couple of calls. We have more than hockey talk for more than an hour. Now we're going overtime. You can choose to stick around. You can choose to go. We'd like for you to stick around because we're trying to grow this community. I'm in one of these moods where I'm trying to have fun. If you don't want me to have fun and you want me to get off right now and you want me to go to bed, I say goodbye. That's it. We say goodbye. If not, if you want me to stick around, I'll stick around. You know, maybe 66 Spinning is going to call. Stéphane from Quebec Cité. No, but in yellow, going forward, when we get to the calls, I'd rather we get to a lot of them that are video, and I'd like to be able to have sometimes 2, 3, 4.
We're going to set that up for the next season.
We're going to set up for that because right now we're not set up for it, but we can be. Is that what you're telling me? It is possible, right?
We can't take calls, but we can take video calls. We can put up to 4 or 5 people on video calls.
I would hope so. I mean, nowadays you can have a little drone go find somebody in planet Mars. I would hope so. We can do that.
Yep.
Jose Levesque says, Tony, will you be at the last game of the season on April 13th? Jose, the challenge is if I'm at the last game of the season on April 13th, I won't get I'd have to leave early to come home to do the podcast, or I'd have to do it from the Bell Center, which is not impossible, but I'd rather do it here because I have my 4K camera, I have my LED lights, I have my big screen television, not a big screen, actually. I don't know what it is. It's a 27-inch TV or whatever it is here in front of me. I got my microphone. I got my mixer board. I have everything here. So the only thing that can happen for me to go is Agnello gives me the night off.
Or you have to leave a bit early. One of the two.
Or you give me the night off. What's the problem with giving me the night off?
You could take the night off. Matt will cover up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody says we can call it the Sick Podcast Speed Dating.
Oh, God. It's a good game.
Or how about Sick Dating? The Sick Dating Podcast.
That's good, too. Maybe you and your wife should host it.
My wife. She's going to complain about me the whole time.
Yeah.
What do you want her to say? She's going to complain
You're
about
a show Easter Monday.
Kelly, he doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that.
People are asking if there's a show on Easter Monday. We'll probably take Easter Monday off, but we'll let you know.
We're going to take Easter Monday off? Really? Yeah.
Take a break. There's no game, nothing.
Yeah.
You can get a break too.
Now, on stat holidays, if you, if you work, usually you're paid time and a half.
Yeah.
Now, are you thinking we should take the day off because you don't want to pay me the time and a half? And is that it or what?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Because if I would work Easter, would you pay me time and a half?
No, not at all.
Wow.
You know what's one of the reasons? I'm just going to let your listeners know.
Yeah.
That every time we go to a restaurant and the bill comes, for some reason, I can't find you anywhere. I think you're in the bathroom or something. I don't know where you are. Yeah, exactly.
2 years ago, Yahoo Finance published an article of the top 15 entrepreneurs in Canada under the age of 20. Okay. Sammy Cavallaro, your son right there, was ranked number 4 in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Those 15, they're all millionaires.
Yeah.
They all earn 7 figures a year.
We don't know
you
what
understand?
Happened. We don't know what happened to you, son.
Okay. Now you're wondering why every time we go for lunch, that I go to the bathroom and I make you pay the bill. That's why.
Well, at least you're honest.
Well, of course I'm honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was ranked number 4 in Canada of the top entrepreneurs in Canada under a certain age, and I was making 7 figures a year, do you think I'd actually make you pay for lunch ever? Never.
Never.
But right now I'm not. And that's it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are actually freaking out with that, but Bobby's freaking out, I think, by what I just said. Bobby, it's a true story. And so Sammy's a phenom, guys. Sammy is a phenom. Sammy's an absolute phenom.
Kelly didn't know he was my son. See? Oh, wow. I didn't know Sammy's your son.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, of course.
Oh, no. Tony's a bill dodger, LOL.
Yeah, I've paid more than my fair share.
Tony's not cheap at all. I'm only kidding around. Tony's not cheap at all.
No, eh?
No, you're very generous. Tony's always generous.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so
let's go. Call it a night.
We call it a night or what?
Huh? Yeah, we'll
call it a night.
Yeah, we'll call it.
There's one more call that I got to get to, or anything, or this or that, or whatever. Nothing.
No more calls.
Eh?
No.
Okay. Ryan Baker says that we're buttes.
Yeah, here's a good question for you. Here.
What is going to happen after the Habs season? Are you still going to be on? Obviously, not every night, but we're going to miss you. Okay.
We're definitely going to be on.
We're definitely going to be on. Okay. The plan right now, it can change. Okay. But I think the plan right now, I don't even know why we should divulge our plan, but I'm an open book. I always do. But I think we'll continue with the same schedule, probably throughout the playoffs, and then around the draft or during the finals while it's going on, leading up to the draft, we're going to have special features. We're going to have interviews that are going to interest a lot of people. And then in the summer, the 2 months in the summer, July and August, what we'll do is we're probably going to record a couple of interviews per week, maybe a couple.
And maybe we'll do a couple of lives just to keep in touch with everybody.
Maybe we'll do a couple of lives, but then again, we'll do a couple. And that's it. So that's going to be our plan. And hopefully we're going to be on vacation. And that's it. Yeah. Now you're going where this summer?
Where are we going this summer?
Yeah, where are you going?
Well, we have a medical conference for Sammy in Orlando because we're on the court. And then we have another medical conference for Sammy in Vancouver. We don't know if we're going to both yet. But you're going
to go to Orlando for sure.
Yeah, because we're speaking at an international conference and then we're speaking at the American conference. We're speaking at both.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I've been looking into where I want to go, and I'm not sure yet.
To be honest, I don't really like leaving in the summer. I like leaving in the winter, but
I love leaving in the summer. Ask me why.
Why?
Because I mean, as good as the weather is in Montreal, it's not guaranteed. And even if we do have good weather, it's not like we have a beach, not like we have an ocean. Mm-hmm. So I know that if I go to a gazillion places in the summer, I'm going to get great weather wherever I'm going to go, and I'm going to get a great beach, and I'm going to get a great ocean. I'm going to get all of that. But when you go away in December, January, February, and I know it's a great time to get away, by the way, and if I could do that, I would too, right?
Yep.
But is the ocean guaranteed? Like, is the water going to be
No, but
swimmable?
We basically go more for the weather itself. In the summer, there's always stuff happening. We have a pool. There's people coming over. Montreal's a great city. There's festivals. It's different.
So listen.
Everybody's locked up.
You and I have had some conversations. Sasha says, how's the diet going? Well,
he's doing good.
I'm doing really well, folks. I got on the scale last week on Monday. I'm embarrassed to say, but I did it to myself, so I might as well just admit it. I'll say it anyway, that I weighed in at a topping 271.2. And today when I got on the scale, I was 255.6. So in 8 days, I've lost about 16 pounds.
Incredible.
So I've been very, very disciplined, very disciplined. If I actually would use the matrix a little bit more than I do, and maybe double the time that I'm on it, maybe double the time, and maybe try and drink a little bit more water, I could probably lose even more. But yeah, so I've lost 16 pounds in 8 days.
You will.
You know?
You will.
I can lose weight fast. Very unfortunately, I can gain weight fast. But so that's it.
Okay, my friend.
Tony, you went to DQ, didn't you? No, I did not go there. I can guarantee you I didn't. No, I'm really eating very, very clean lately. Very, very clean. Like there's not an ounce of fat on what I'm eating. And I basically cut out sugars with the exception of the sugars I have. I have 8 ounces of fruit per day, 4 ounces at lunch and 4 ounces at supper. So, my sugars are natural. But that's what I'm doing. Right?
Say hi to Angela Esposito. She's a big fan.
Angela Esposito. Yeah, I believe she follows me on Instagram.
Yeah, she's a big fan.
Yeah, she's a big fan. So, hold on a second. I want to show you something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is my dream. I'm going to show you my dream. Speaking of the weight loss, of course, right? Try and find it. Shouldn't be very long. It's somewhere here. Okay.
Atlantic provinces.
All right. Let me see here.
What are you looking
for? If you want, you can talk during the. I'm trying to look for a picture that I want to show you. Okay. We're going overtime here anyway, right? We're going overtime here. I'll show you this picture and then I'll say goodnight. Now, I better find the picture. I did. I found.
Thank God.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Sammy, can you have the chance to talk to George? What?
So, I think it was 9 years ago, but it might be 10. I think it was 9, but it might be 10. I committed to dropping some weight, some pounds. And when all was said and done, that was me at 186 pounds.
Wow.
186.
Wow. How many years
so now? 9 or 10. I'm not sure if it was 9 or 10 years ago.
Not much. Okay? It's not that long ago.
So back then I had lost, I think, 40 pounds in a 3-month window. And then I a couple of years later, I suffered a concussion. And the concussion was very, very bad. And I couldn't sleep. And my life was hell. And I kept on seeing a light while I was sleeping. And my eyes wouldn't close. That's right. My eyes wouldn't close. And so I went to see the doctor. I went to see several specialists. And the doctor said to me, he says, I need to give you something to relax you so that you can fall asleep. And I said, okay, what are you going to give me? And he said, well, I can prescribe you either an anti-epilepsy pill or an antidepressant pill. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit worried about taking either or. I mean, I'm worried about side effects. He said, no, don't worry about it. He goes, it won't do anything to you, but it'll help you relax. So I said, okay, give me the antidepressant, I guess. So he said, okay, I'm going to give it to you, but I will tell you this, your mouth's going to be very dry. It's going to ask for food when you're going to be on this pill, and just, really be extra careful with your eating habits and try to suppress your appetite as much as possible, because or else you're going to put on weight. And I took that antidepressant for 7 months. And in 7 months, I put on 50 pounds.
Wow.
And so this weight that I've been carrying around, and yes, I like to indulge at restaurants, but this weight, while I was on that antidepressant for 7 months, I put on 50 pounds.
Wow.
And then at one point, I got off the antidepressant. I'm still don't sleep very well. My eyes still don't close, but I had to, I mean, it's funny, but I have to put a scarf around my eyes to kind of close my eyes shut. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I can get to sleep. The good news is in the last couple of weeks here, in the last couple of days, I've been sleeping a lot better because I dropped all the weight. But, I always used to be, well, not always, because obviously it's 10 years I'm overweight, but I was always pretty athletic. I was always,
you're going to get it back.
I was always in pretty good shape. I mean, at my high school grad, I think I was 144 pounds. That was high school grad. That was a long time ago.
You'll get it back.
Okay. So now I know you want to go to bed.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
But now that we said this, I got to show you my high school grad picture.
Oh my God.
I'm in one of those moods to talk. Well, don't worry about it. I'm not going to charge you extra. Okay. I'm not going to charge you extra. No, I'm not charging extra. It's $40,000 a month. I mean, it's $40,000 a month.
Now what are you looking for?
My grad picture.
This guy.
To show you something. Hold on a second.
Thank God you wake up early in the morning. Sleep is good. Say hi to Anus. Is that how you pronounce her name? They want you to say hi to, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, which is Anus, A-N-I-S. Anis, what's her name?
That would be Anis, not anus.
But it's in English. I don't know.
What are you thinking about, man? What are you thinking about?
Bed?
And anus.
Not your fault. We'll buy you a sleeping mask. See? Not an S, man. Not anus, man.
Okay. Here it is. Are you ready?
Yep. Anis. We got it, Anis. Sorry. You got it. So where is it?
Got it. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Take your time.
Throwback. High school grad. Look at that, huh? Huh?
Doesn't even look like you.
That's me.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
Che bello voglione, huh?
Oh, yeah. Che bello voglione. Yeah.
What a stud, huh?
Yeah, what a stud. What a stud.
Those were the days. All right, okay. It's nice talking, but
time to get some rest.
It's time to get some rest. We're going to be back tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow, our Eric Engels of Sportsnet and Sportsnet.ca will be joining us, who's a regular contributor on Monday nights, but this week on Monday, he couldn't make it. So Marc-Andre Perreault, who's a regular on Wednesdays, took over on Monday, and Eric Engels will be joining us tomorrow. By then, I'm sure that there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about because there's breaking news all the time in the world of hockey and the Montreal Canadiens. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night, same time, same place. It's the Sick Podcast. They're Cavallaro. I'm Marinaro. Ciao for now.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TB. Embrace your true nature.